2 years ago, at age 16, I never expected to receive a threat to be sued by one of the fastest growing tech companies in the United States. Scary as the letter was, it did say to me what I had been doing for the past year was bigger and more successful than I had ever thought. But what I also realized was that neither age or circumstance can be a barrier if you really want to do something. Growing up, I was a pretty normal kid, going to school, taking care of my rabbits, and playing the piano. My parents were a big influence in my life. My dad taught me how to multiply at an early age. And my mom taught me how to be humble and compassionate, helping others when no one else would. Yet one day, something happened in a single moment that would change my life from that moment on. It was in the middle of the night, and I woke up by someone knocking loudly on the door. I opened the door, and there stood a policeman whose face looked like stone. My sister and I joined him to the station. We sat down in a dark room filled with 10 other policemen, all around a round table. They explained that our parents had both died in an accident and that everything would be all right. But we knew it wasn't. They treated us like we were 10 and 12, but in that 2-minute period, we grew up very quickly. So we moved in with my aunt and uncle, essentially rebooting our lives. We lived in a big yellow house with a lot of light in every room. Even though there was light everywhere in this house, there was none in me. Life was dark. Until age 10, we didn't have a lot of computers around the house. But when I moved in with my uncle, I noticed there were computers everywhere. And there was an old computer in my room. And that's the one that caught my interest. I saw things turn, and there was something about how it almost hypnotized me. Then I became interested in computers. I found a book on not only how to turn a computer on, but what made this computer tick. That turned me on. Soon, my new parents realized that the only thing I would do was sit in my room reading this book. And so they asked me if I was going crazy, if I shouldn't go out to meet friends. But I was so fascinated that I couldn't stop. It consumed me. So now I found myself knowing quite a lot about computers, but I wasn't really sure how to apply it. Once again, an anticipated event happened that would change my direction in life and how I thought about things. We were going on a trip, and as it happened, I ended up sitting not next to the typical passenger, but this one turned out to be Ryan Tedder, the singer in One Republic, whose songs have been played over 600 million times. He asked me what I was doing, and I told him, I'm gonna create the best mobile apps out there for everyone to enjoy. He smiled hearing the kind of cheesy statement you might expect from a 16-year-old seatmate. And then he said, okay, wouldn't it be cool to have an app we could use on stage that synchronizes our phones and shows a countdown so that we can start playing all at the same time? I thought the idea sounded cool, so I started working on the app. At first, it was very difficult, and it crashed. But then, in a moment of insight, I looked at it in a different way, and it worked. This was an eye-opener for me. First, that you can find applications for all kinds of problems. And second, that even if you fail at first, often all you need to do is look at the problem in a slightly different way to find the solution. So now I had even more confidence, and I knew I had the skill. So I wanted to tackle something even bigger. After returning home, my friend and I talked on Skype about this new thing called Snapchat, where our friend sent us the most embarrassing pictures. Now, the thing about Snapchat is that you receive a picture and then it disappears. But what if we could save them? So we said, let's hack Snapchat. So I started working on the project and finished it during the weekend, released it to the App Store, and became amazed by the result. We started getting hundreds of downloads every day. And soon, we were on the top of the charts in over 120 countries. I kept on working on the app, fixing bugs, and learning new things to make it more efficient. Downloads grew exponentially, and soon it was simply too popular to not get the attention we did not want. I woke up to an email. It was an email from Snapchat's legal team. They stated all the laws we had broken, and there were many. And at the bottom of the email, they warned that if you don't take this app down within 7 days, we will take further action. Now, my first reaction was, no way. Why would I remove this app that had such immense success? But after talking to people with some more judicial experience, I came to the conclusion that it was time to take it down. But we did wait 6 days and about 18 hours before we did. So these were some of the defining moments of the direction I wanted to take in life. I knew I was fascinated by computers, what they could do, and the fact that if you put your mind to it, there are no boundaries of what you can build. So right now, I'm working on constructing apps. I'm helping people achieve the 1 million user mark by using these principles and insights I was able to accumulate. So I'd like to share with you some of the things I learned along this journey. First of all, things in life change. Whether it's the death of your parents, finding an old computer in your room, or sitting next to someone on an airplane. Successful people recognize those events and take advantage of them. We have to keep our eyes open because sometimes things like these happen, and it could be the things that change your life. 2, some people say that failure is not an option, but it's a great option. As a matter of fact, some of the best things comes out of second tries. As a matter of fact, the difference between people who are successful and people who aren't is that failure stops the people who aren't. It won't stop somebody who follows their vision and keeps their goal in sight. And 3, dare to be different. Some of the best things, whether it's in how you operate or how you see solutions, comes from being different. Don't look for the obvious. Almost everything I've done has come from not doing the obvious, doing the different thing. I embraced the fact that I was a bit different, and that gave me the insight of looking for solutions as maybe they need to be a bit different. Maybe the reason we haven't solved things before is because we need to look at them in a slightly different way. So I wasn't bound by a lot of rules of how conventional people think. And that made it possible to see things people had never seen before. So I encourage you to look at yourself differently, look at your challenges differently, and realize that rules, age, or the way we've done things before should not be barriers. The only barrier is lack of vision, lack of courage, and lack of drive. So I invite you to look at any problem in your path, knowing that if you look at it in a slightly different way, there is nothing you can't overcome. Thank you.